Welcome back, my Poke Adventures. Oh, and we're continuing our way down to Fuchsia City, trying to complete routes 12 through 15. But we are about halfway, and this should be route 14, I believe, where we're at currently. So let's see what we fight today. So far, fighting a bird person. Yeah, this is a long stretch, like I was saying previously. But I'm gonna have a bunch of cash by the end of it, so to help fund this, to help fund getting my stuff, Pokeballs and repels and what have you. Man, I would love to see a bird trainer freaking go nuts over a legendary. One of the legendary birds. It's like tame and try and take care of that big old thing. You know what would be cool? It'd be cool if they made a game that, a Pokemon game that was kind of like, how can I tell you? Active, like live, you know what I mean? Well, let me explain. Like, okay, so you start your Pokemon adventure, right? You get your Cyndaquil, but as you're going, like, every single trainer in the game travels. You see them traveling, they're catching Pokemon, making new teams, this and that, kind of basically like what you're doing, but the same thing. But obviously, if they're a bird trainer, then that's what they do, is they go and they look for birds and stuff like that. It just depends on what they do. So at some point, that being the case, that means somebody could end up with the legendary Pokemon. The only ones that wouldn't be viable for that would probably be like, well, just talking first generation alone, probably just Mew and Mewtwo. Because, Mewtwo's found in a cave and all that. And Mew will... Come on now. Super rare. Who's gonna actually see it and catch it? But as for the legendary birds, they're just rare. They're not, like... It's not like you can't find them. So my idea was either like, maybe there's more than one legendary out there. If somewhere its Pokedex says that it's just a rare Pokemon that's hardly ever seen, or something like the somewhere along those lines, to where, like, yes, there is more than one, but they're hard to come across, and have some of them like actually find their own legendary birds. The bird trainers. Imagine that, you're just, you're moseying along, and all of a sudden you're in a fight with some guy with the freaking Zapdos. My first thought was like, well, you know what, like, you could capture the legendary birds, but somebody could beat you to it. But then again, for gameplay's sake and all that, nobody would like that. So, I mean, I guess there'd be too many moving parts for it to ever really work. And I guess that's really what your rival is there for, so never mind it. Scrap the idea. Just make it to where, like, it would be possible for them to actually capture the legendary birds, like let's say like you're on a grass, and like you have like a 1% chance out of anything to actually come across a legendary bird, or any kind of legendary. If it's known that there's more than one out there. And so that way putting that in, you can basically say that, well, this guy got this bird trainer got lucky and ended up with a Articuno just because, he managed to be in the right place at the right time. I mean, there's a way to make it make sense, Like, It's in the Seafoam Mines, so you know, like maybe have somebody who's like surfing or somebody in the cave actually get it or have one. I mean, that would really shake up some of the combat scenarios. And I know what you guys are gonna say. It's like, well, I mean, you could get randomizers for all that kind of stuff, and like, well, yeah, but you know, it's like the first time seeing it, it's always a surprise, you know. But I'm talking about like just a base game, you know, not not randomized or anything. So far, so good. Yeah, looking back, even back in the first generation, what I would have done was at least have 2 rivals. I mean, it would just make more sense, you know. And to give it a bit of, you know, to give it a bit of backplay, I would like probably, you know, each individual character has a slightly different story. I mean, because you know they're all going for champion, but you know they all have different experiences, so kind of experience the game differently. But I guess with some people saying different things, I mean that may not be enough to get people to come back and play them, you know, after the first time. But you know, it'd be a little something. Yeah, because to me it's always made sense to have 2 rivals. Just because, you know, you get 3 starters, okay, well then that's cool, you know, like you get one and your rival gets one, but what about the one that's just left there, you know? It's like it's just sitting there collecting dust. It could be done though, you know. I'm sure there's ROMs out there that give you more than one rival in these Pokemon games or earlier Pokemon games. I mean, for one, it'll be a few more battles, and for 2, it'll be just a bit more challenging. And for 3, you know, that the last Pokemon, which never gets picked, actually, you know, gets to go out on a little adventure. I can't remember which generation they started, but yeah, they ended up doing like 3 rivals or more. Let me see. I think was it Black and White? I think it was Black and White that started off having more than one rival. I mean, comment down below and let me know and correct me if I'm wrong. But I know for a fact Sun and Moon had multiple rivals. Yeah, but I think it started in the Black and White. I played them, but I didn't really retain any of. I don't really remember or retain any of the, you know, my experiences from that. So speaking of generational, how many of you... you know, I'd like to know, like, how many of you think that first generation is the best, or second, third, or fourth? You know? But for those who've actually went and played, like, who went and played all the games, you know, like, which one do you think was the best? Like, you know, whether... You know, and you know, I guess that's a bit broad, so let's like kind of bring that down. So like, you know, did you think that this generation was better because it had better gameplay, or this generation was better because it had a better story, or this generation because, you know, it had like the best graphics, or, you know, even the best sprites? You know, like, you know, what's y'all's answers to all that? I mean, you know, let me down below, or sorry about that. Let me know down below. Got tongue-tied there. Yeah, because I mean, I played Black and White, and from what I remember, like, I remember the story being good, but the sprites were god-awful. Like, at that point, it's like, man, I would have just preferred the Gen 2 sprites over this. But the Gen 2 sprites were awesome. Let me see. But I think Heart Gold and Soul Silver is kind of like where I'm at with it. Like, you know, I actually didn't start with Gen 1. As a kid, I had a Game Boy, but the only game I had for it was Galaga and Galaxian. And I think that's the only game I had for a while, so, you know, that's what I played on my Game Boy anyways. Yeah, I actually didn't play Red and Blue till I was a little older, you know, to where I was able to emulate games and all that whenever that came in, so that's about the time I actually played that. So, you know, when I got a Game Boy, when I got a Game Boy Advance, no, not a Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, yeah, because I remember like the first Game Boy Color game I got was actually Pokemon Crystal, and you know, I still had my Game Boy, so I'm like, cool, so I'll play it. So, you know, I popped that sucker into my Game Boy, and lo and behold, because of the way the cartridge was shaped, because you know, the first generation of cartridges, they had like that little indentation. Well, it didn't have it, and I go, well, I'm screwed. But it didn't take long after I got, I think it was a Game Boy Advance. I don't even think I got the Game Boy Color, as far as I remember. Yeah, no, it was a Game Boy Advance. So yeah, so, you know, second generation Pokemon was actually is the one I played and the one we're familiar with. So I'm pretty sweet on Crystal, so that's the reason why I like, you know, Soul Silver and Heart Gold, because it takes me back. Yeah, but that's my favorite, and, you know, I like everything about it. Like, you know, the story, I'll admittedly, you know, it's not so good. You know, there's a story, but it's not, like, too fleshed out. Or, hold on, no, it is fleshed out just a little bit more, because they have the kimono girls on there, so yeah. So they flesh out the story a little bit, and, you know, the story's better. It's not the best, but, I mean, it's alright. But the sprites is pretty good, and I like the fact that, you know, that's, you know, like in Pokemon Yellow, you know, you get to have a Pokemon follow you, but it's just not Pikachu, it's anything you choose. I mean, I know it would have taken more work, and maybe they were trying to figure it out whenever they were making the games, but it would have been cool if that wasn't, you know, implemented in every generation, just to have a Pokemon follow you. I feel like it would mean more. Like, you know, it'll really, like, immerse you, and, like, you know, you can see your buddy just following you. But how many of you actually like that feature to begin with, you know, like, with the Pokemon following you? Like, did it do anything for you? Like, you know, did you like it? Did you not like it? You know? And I think in later generations, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you can actually turn that feature off whether you want them to follow you or not. You get a choice. I don't know I don't know which generation that started at, but I think that was a thing. You could choose whether you wanted them to follow you or not. But I guess they couldn't implement it because at the time, you know, they probably just didn't have the room for it. You know, games have only gotten bigger, so. You know, now I think it's pretty good. Of course, then again, I guess you can argue that it's somewhat implemented in the games that don't have it because of the ride Pokemon. You know, because, you know, you had Charizard or popping out, or I think Machoke. Yeah, not Machoke. Machamp was one of them. Like, he would carry you, like, over stuff or something. So I guess in a way it was still kind of implemented, but not really. So also speaking of generational, like how many of you out there actually have your original team from like the very first game, like from Gen 1? Like, you know, you took the time to sit there and like you played them throughout the years, and throughout those years you transferred your original Pokemon into the next generation Pokemon and kept going, you know? So how many of you actually have first generation Pokemon from like 20-30 years ago are still playing Pokemon and are using some, or if not all, of your team members from from your original cartridge? That's what I'd really like to know right there. You know, like, comment down below, like, let me know. I mean, to stop and think about it, you've been playing with the same team for literally like 30 years. It's like, you know, like the same, like, for instance, the same Gyarados, for instance, you know? Gyarados is found in Gen 1. I mean, imagine like 30 years later, it's like, bro, you caught this thing whenever you were like 6 to 10, and now you're in your like late to early 30s, or, you know, approaching your 40s, and you still have that same Gyarados from whenever you were like 10. Like, think about it, like 10 to 40 years old. That's like 30 years of the same Pokemon. I mean, that is insane. It's like, you know about the time, you know, especially if you grinded it, like that sucker's been at level 100 forever. I mean, I'm not too sure like how far you can actually take the trading process, because I can think of like the first few, but after that, and then like there's the Pokemon Bank, so I know there's a hard limit to where you could take it. Like, I'm not even sure if you can actually transfer Pokemon over to the new generations, or can you? I've only played up to Sword and Shield. I did not play Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, so that one I didn't play. Okay, and then like I said, I played Sword and Shield, but I still haven't played Legends Arceus and Scarlet and Violet, so those are the only ones I actually have left to play. So I'm not sure how the trading process works as far as like transferring from older games into the newer games, or if that's even a thing. I mean, if y'all know, like, let me know down below. You know, comment and give me all the info. So which one do you think is the best, like, Switch game, I guess you could say? Of the ones I've played, I didn't care for the Let's Go's. Like, it just, I don't know, like, I guess it's similar to Pokemon Go, and I guess that's the whole point, because I know with that one you can actually transfer Pokemon over from Pokemon Go to Let's Go, and I think you can transfer them back. Again, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, you know, go down into the comments and let me know. But yeah, you know, I just, you know, didn't really care for it. See how much this does to this Grimer. Okay, sweet. Yeah, I don't know, I find it weird, like, playing Pokemon games on the Switch. It's cool because it's still, like, mobile, you know, it's like, it's still like a Game Boy, but they call it a home console, which makes no sense, you know. It's like, oh, we're gonna stop making handheld games. Oh, here you go, here's the Switch. It's an at-home console. Yeah, but you can also take it on the go. It's an at-home console, but you can take it on the go. It's also portable. So there you go. What they did was basically combined, you know, a home console and a to-go console. You know, a portable console. All in one. It's just an overly powered Game Boy at that point. I mean, I'm not knocking on the Switch, because I mean it's cool. I don't own one, but I do own a Steam Deck, so, you know, I understand. But man, they really need to, like, and they're probably working on it, but they need to come up with a better version of the Switch, you know, like one where it can like really handle like the graphics and all that. The one complaint I always see from like friends and, you know, people online and reviews is like, well, I mean, it's alright, but after a while the game gets kind of like laggy, or you know, the game's too big, or the graphics are too much for it to handle. At least while they're on the go, because, you know, while it's docked, They say, oh, it plays great, no problems, no nothing. But once I take it on the go, that's it. It's you know, the performance just drops. But then again, you know, I guess that's a player-by-player process. I guess it depends what you're into playing, you know. So if you're playing like games that are like more like on the 2D side or whatever, then I guess it's fine, you know. But if you're gonna be playing like Nier Automata or you know, stuff with like high resolutions and all that in third-party games, I guess it's not gonna, you know, it's not gonna hold up too good. But knowing Nintendo, at some point they're gonna come out with something else, you know. Yeah, no, that's the thing is, I actually really do like Nintendo games. Like, some of my favorite titles are Nintendo games. Like, for instance, I'd say my top ones is Pokemon and Fire Emblem. Like, I really like those games. But what sucks, and this is just a Nintendo problem, you know. I mean, I don't know why they don't do it. And you know, you hear people bitch about this all the time, but it's like, okay, well, you see, I want to pay you to play these old games, so why not just put it like on your current server or on your current eShop? It's like, and they're like, oh, you know, you can only play it on the original on the eShop. He goes, yeah, but we don't have access to it anymore. Oh, yeah, well, that's just the way it is, you know. But you can put it on there on the eShop, the current one, and I can give you money so that I could buy the game and play your game, and then you're making money. Oh no, that's fine. It's a classic game. We're just gonna leave it there, but come back and talk to us in you know, like 20 more years, and by that point maybe we'll think about it. You know, I can't make no promises, but yeah. And at the same time, it's like, oh, but don't pirate our games, because that's bad. Go and, you know, if you bought them, then play that. But if you didn't buy it, well, then I'm sorry, you know, you can't play the game, you know, because we can't seem to find a way to access it. On a business standpoint, it just makes no freaking sense to me. It's like, you have like all these cool games that people want to play, and they just refuse to, you know, put them up, or whenever they do, like, they really have to stop and think about it, and like, oh, we could do this or we could do that. But then again, I guess, you know, there's no sense of complaining so much, because they have been remaking games, which is cool. So, you know, most of the games, you know, most of the bugs are being fixed and updated graphics and all that. So I guess that's their way of doing it. But then again, you have those old school people that, you know, that's like, they want to play it the way they remember. You know, it's like, why not make that available? You know, I mean, how hard is it to like code that into your eShop? You know, and then that's more money in their pocket. You know, I mean, if they're all about money. You know, I mean, I don't know. Just Nintendo company's old-fashioned, and that's just how they run it. And I guess there's nothing we can say about it. They're gonna do what they're gonna do. You know, you know. It's a frustrating thing for people who love Poco, or who love Nintendo games. Yeah, but like I said, you know, I don't condone you know, pirating the games, but you know, I mean, that's really the only way to play them these days, you know, since they're not available anywhere else. So you know, you do what you feel is you do what you feel is right when it comes to that, you know. I mean, I'm not gonna sway you one way or another. Totally up to you. But that's just one man's humble opinion here on this little slice of the internet, on the YouTubes. Man, we are tearing through all these trainers. So in Pokemon, do they ever get a Pokemon that looks like a hawk, or is like based off a hawk? I know there's one based off an eagle, but is there one based off a hawk? And if there is, and the bird Pokemon trainers are here, like with hawk Pokemon, are they technically hawking instead of, or are they or would it be called something else? Like if they had a Farfish, like Farfetching or Pidgeoting. So what's the Pokemon equivalent to hawking? You know what I mean? That Ice Beam should take it down. Not bad. So far it's been one-hit kills from, you know, what's been going on. And then again, I think my Pokemon are at quite a big level, so that's alright. I think this is the last one in the route. Alrighty. One hit. Well, yeah, I was gonna be a one hit out of the way. That was a crit. I'm glad they fixed that in the second generation with the critical hits. You know, like it's cool that, you know, critical hits are nice, but dang, sometimes, you know, it's nice whenever it happens, whenever you're the one critting. But man, when you get critted back and you know, you look at the percentage you have for the Pokemon, it's like, okay, I should be able to survive it, and then what do you know? Just bam, a crit. So yeah. I never thought I would see the day where I would complain about critical hits. But apparently in the first generation it's just a thing. Alright, that was the last trailer for this. And surprise smash cut. Yeah, so this was actually really long. I was literally here for like 30 minutes trying to find what I needed here. So I decided to go ahead and, you know, save you from the 20 minutes of, you know, watching me fail to come across this thing. So saving you time. So that was my catch for this route. Let's go with... let me think. Bloom. Alright. Yeah, that 20 minutes really was not nice. Let's check up here real quick, see what we got. An EXP all, huh? Not the best item. I think I already collected it from him. Okay. I don't think I caught anything over here, so let's go ahead and capture. Use a good rod for here. Oh, hold on, no, I forgot I got the super rod. Alrighty. I decided to go ahead and just catch a Magikarp. I was trying to get the Gyarados, but that was taking a bit, so I'll just go ahead and catch a Magikarp and just train it up later. Well guys, I guess with this capture right here, I'm going to go ahead and end things. You guys know what to do. Like, subscribe, hit that noti bell to keep up with this journey of mine. And like you guys already know, and like I always say, pitter patter, get the hell out of here, and have a fantastic day. Gonna go ahead and nickname this one Hydro. What are you still doing here? Go on. Get